Crimsonclad.
Hi, friends. I am stoked to be back, and I hope you are stoked to be here, and I hope we can lure a bunch of people in tonight, because if you've noticed, if you're watching the stream, and maybe you're not, but if you're watching the stream, you will see that I have headphones on. It turns out my COVID ears have healed. I didn't need to get robot ears. I do not have a COVID riddled bum. All of that good stuff has come to fruition here today. So I'm stoked. I'm going to be able to play you guys some music, and I am hoping you're going to want to hang out. You're going to want to have a lot of fun. And of course, oh my goodness, Guillaume, nice profile picture. Hey, check it out. 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 is here. And also, 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆, you should totally drop your Twitch channel, because I stopped in a little earlier this week just for a quickie peek, and you were doing some bangers midweek. I'm so stoked to have you guys here. So we can actually play some metal music tonight, which is crazy and also good. And I'm still a little hacky, which is weird because I didn't have a cough while I had COVID. So I thought we'd chitty chat tonight about your weekends, about your springs, maybe about your Easter plans. Some of you are more religious than others, but hey, a holiday's a holiday. Have some fun, and let's just see. Let's see where things go. So I got lots of new music for you, but I also have a weird assortment of stuff that I've been playing and like just enjoying and thinking about playing while I couldn't. And so, yeah, tonight's going to be fun. Lots of good music. Now, I will say, if you want to watch or you want to listen, the Discord is a great place to chat. It's a great place to listen, but it sounds terrible. So I want to remind you that you have hella options. Fullforce Radio goes out on MSP waves. It is our social, it is our social powered, or our hive powered social broadcasting network. It's a radio station with a whole lot of heart. Honestly, sounds way better there. Way better. And if you want to watch a video feed that goes along with the live radio, because that's not confusing, then you can go to any of the places that I stream, which is basically everywhere. I highly recommend 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 or trve or 𝖭𝑒𝑡a, because they are smaller streaming platforms and they are great. Twitch, I think I'm like almost, you're watching on YouTube? Hell yeah. We'll do a quick test to make sure all the chitty chats are connected. And we'll go from there. But yeah, I think at this point I'm a Twitch affiliate, or I'm not an affiliate yet. I have to apply to be an affiliate, but I have the affiliate numbers. I don't know. Listen, I don't care. Wherever you're happy, that's where you should be. So after last week, where we actually ended up making an entire 2-hour show out of me just repeatedly telling you guys that rocking a green lung shirt tonight. Green lung is, we'll pretend that's how my throat got like this. But yeah, rocking the graveyard sun. Little death never hurt anyone. Don't worry about it. Little death never hurt anyone. But yeah, so, last week we turned an entire show out of 2 hours about me talking to you guys and telling you that no, my bum is not riddled with COVID. So I hope you're all happy to know that has continued, and I'm feeling a lot better. But if you weren't here last week, don't go back and watch the show. But the long and the short of it is, I could not outrun the plague forever. I did indeed get the Rona. I got the Rona. And for the most part, I was largely asymptomatic. I didn't really have the snotty nose. I didn't have the coughing. I didn't really have the butt. I really didn't have much. But my eyes and my ears were so sore. Now, some of you guys, we talked about it last week. Some of you guys got the Rona. You had Rona for 12 hours. Yeah. If we're counting like my actual worst sort of, you've arisen from the dead so many times. Perfect. Good man. And that's going to be a theme, obviously, for tonight going into the Easter weekend, right? Isn't that the whole point of Easter? I was going to ask, if you weren't here last week to tell me about your plague experiences, I'd like to know. So yeah, for some of you runny nose and you couldn't smell for 12 hours. Yeah, no runny nose. Could still smell. Good versus bad, I don't know. But we were talking about this last week, and we were talking about what sense would you actually want to lose? Or, if you had to choose, if you were forced into, this situation at gunpoint, what sense would you lose? And overall, we definitely decided that hearing was the one. Nobody wanted to give up their hearing. I personally would rather give up my sight than my hearing. I think. Maybe? That's where I landed last week, and a lot of you did too. I would be annoyed if I lost my smell, but I did not, and I don't care. Fine, whatever. All right. So, yeah, it's Easter weekend, and, speaking of arising from the dead and whatnot, obviously, we take a lot of flack on this show because I play the devil's music. The devil's music! And... But, there's plenty of Christian metal out there, and after a great chat with 𝖕𝖊𝖆𝖆, who came last week, I'm pretty sure I will at some point I'll swallow my pride and put together a Christian metal show at some point. But you want to lose your power to see through clothes. I will say, thinking of superpowers, that's one of those ones where you would be like, I absolutely 1000% want the power to see through clothes. And then as you started walking down the street and you saw the majority of people around you without clothes, you would probably desperately wish that you could no longer see through clothing. I'm just saying. I feel like that one would get old really, really quick, and you would have to go to very specific places to make it worth it. Also, my God, I don't know about you guys, but I would be so distracted all the time. I don't know. I don't know if I could tune out just 24/7 boobs everywhere. I don't know if I could do it. Also, dicks are really gross, right? They're swinging around. No, you probably shouldn't tag 𝖕𝖊𝖆𝖆 on this one. Oh, yeah, okay, I see what we're doing. Don't do that. Leave the poor man alone. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to listen to some music. We're going to see if we can't lure a couple people up in here. We've got people watching all over the different streams. I will make sure to send out all of those locations. Join in wherever is best for you. Listen on the radio station. Have a good time. We're going to play some metal. We're going to have some fun. So I figured we could just start. Given that we're talking about all sorts of things that would happen and what would you give up with your senses and whatnot, I thought, okay, I'll start with a band called Witchcraft. And this is much more in the stoner rock sort of niche. If you've noticed, I've definitely been in that place on my slow recovery upwards out of the Rona, where my ears, just putting on headphones was excruciating. I couldn't even keep them on last week. So I've been waiting all week, and I've just been listening to a little bit of tinnitus, and I've been hoping it would go away. And about 2 days ago, I thought, oh, it's gone, it's quiet again. And I put my headphones on, and I survived. Hi, Eileen! Hello, Eileen! So that's great. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do the show properly. I was thinking, holy shit, what if I have long COVID? I'm going to have to adapt. As far as a long COVID experience goes, this is pretty lame. We can't hear out of one ear. But it would have been really, honestly, life-changing for me. So, fuck that shit. We're done with that. It's bullshit. We're over it. Let's get out of here. So I'm going to play a track by a band called Witchcraft because I have absolutely kind of been kicking it around in classic rock and stoner rock and some lighter psychedelic stuff this week. And I'm going to share that gift with you. So I'm going to play you a track off an album called Firewood. And it's actually, let me preface this by saying I have a specific year in my head that it will always be. Now, I'm pretty sure this is common, and I'm curious to know, which year do you guys perpetually live in? And one of the reasons this came up was because as I'm putting together these playlists, I'm starting to realize that some of my favorite albums are 30 years old. And I'm like, 30 years old? Oh my God. 30 years ago was 1970. And then I realize that that's absolutely not true. In my mind, it will always be the sort of 5-year period between 1996 and 2001, 1998 and 2003. That millennium turning point for me is where my brain is stuck. I don't know why, but that's just it. So I'm curious to know, do you guys have a year that you are perpetually stuck in? And how often does it sneak up on you where you're like, oh! So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, this album's from 2005. It's not that old. Yeah, it is. But I'm going to play something by a band called Witchcraft. And they are... They are this awesome sort of doom, stoner, psychedelic rock and roll band from Sweden. And they have quite a few songs that sound a lot like sort of old Sabbath. They have a very late 70s feel to a lot of their music. And they do a lot of... There, see? Thank you. Thank you for backing me up, because the other opinion was everyone lives in 2022. You're just a fun weirdo. I appreciate that you put fun in there and didn't just literally just grind me under the bus on that one. So cheers to you. Thank you. But yeah, so we're going to play some sort of psychedelic rock, psychedelic folk. Speaking of getting COVID, losing your senses, all the things that are, honest to God, quite thoroughly unpleasant that have passed, I'm going to play you a track called You Suffer. I'll get the overlay set up. I will drink a little bit more black coffee. We will have some fun chitty-chatting. Invite your friends or don't. Keep me all to yourself if you want. And we'll have a sort of quasi-return to the right, powerful, loud, Fullforce radio. My name is Crimsonclad, and I have you guys for 3 hours. So, I mean, just be prepared for more absolute absurdity. Everybody was so excited last week when I wasn't going to play music until I started talking, and then everybody desperately wished I was playing music. Tonight, you'll get a little bit of both. Why not?
Point your finger at someone else, if not so, then at yourself. Everyone cannot be like you. Oh, I know you know, but you act like two. Thought it was time to have this conversation between two wiser but true thought, yeah. I see you can't understand my situation. You're too damn blind to even care. Get away from here. Not too long before you drive me mad. You're the worst nightmare that I ever had. So good to feel I know where you are. Far away from me, I'm gonna be a rock and roll
Oh, that track totally just ends out of nowhere, huh? All right, so listen. Welcome. It's Fullforce Radio. My name is Crimsonclad, and if you are hanging out tonight, yeah, so poor Normock. He's our resident, like, sort of unabashed, unapologetic Christian. And I know lots of you guys, hey, Mr. D, I know lots of you guys are some form of religious. I know, Mariano, you're definitely on the Christian end of things. And some of you guys, nah, not at all. Whatever you may be, not a big deal. Happy to have you here. But yeah, Easter is one of those things that I love, but I also think is completely fucking ridiculous. I mean, it's kind of a fun dichotomy, really. I was raised. Frankie, hi, good to see you. Oh my goodness, I'm dragging them all in here tonight. But so, I don't care if you do Easter or not, but a long weekend's a long weekend. It's always a good time to be out and about or in the radio channel. But so, I was raised religious. I was. My mom is fairly religious. And so over the years, obviously, my relationship with the, hey, Jason, with the creation mythos is, it's certainly changed over the years. And so I don't really consider myself to be religious, but I do think I'm spiritual. And oh my God, isn't that a trope? I'm not religious, I'm just spiritual. It's very woo-woo. It makes me sound like I'm going to pull a healing crystal out of my ass or something. You know what I mean? It's a very... It's a very sort of a wishy-washy sort of thing. But one of my favorite parts about Easter, straight up, is going to church. I love my church. I love the church that I grew up going to. I love the connections that are there. I love the community. And Easter is this really magical time where, church, depending on where you live and the ones that you go to, let's just say caveat, Easter especially is a very open time at my church. And so it's quite interesting because we get tons of people who aren't necessarily religious, who are just spiritual, who come wandering on in just to check it out because the church is beautiful. But for me, it's one of my favorite times of year. And even though I'm obviously, not going to do any of the super religious stuff, like, I don't know, eating the body in the cup and the bread and the oil and the... I don't know. But I love going. I love hearing the choir. The sermons are always excellent. And there's always, around Easter time, there's always sort of this just really nice sense of community. And if you're one of those people who gets to go to a church or has a community that's like that year round, that's banging. Good job, man. Well done. But my church is far the fuck away. Absolutely far away. So I don't go very often. It's this thing that I do once or twice a year that kind of just grounds me back in the idea that life is beautiful and there is, hardship in the world, and whatever higher power or spirituality you connect with, grab it, hold it tight, heal thyself, go back out refreshed into the world. It's good enough, man. It's good enough. And I mean, if you really want to try, I'm sure if we really got down into it, we could probably go like a Passion of the Christ route and really create like, oh my God, man, he had fucking nails through his hands. That's metal as shit. We could probably find some connections. But yeah, so that's like the nice part of Easter that I like. But the rest of Easter is great and awful. Whose idea was a gigantic anthropomorphic bunny that shits chocolate that you then like fist fight all the other children in the neighborhood for? There's a lot to unpack around the Easter bunny and around like all the Easter symbology that has nothing to do with a religion. I don't know if you guys, speaking of the year that it is in my head, 1999, 2000, 2005, when I think back to pictures of myself as a kid, they are dated, obviously. But that 30-year gap where 30 years ago was the 70s, have you ever seen photos from like the 50s and 60s and 70s of Easter? And somebody thought it's this great idea, these terrifying murder rabbit costumes. Have you seen these photos around the internet? Just miserable, crying children. People are shoving chocolate at them, but they can't. These children have seen the face of terror, and it is the Easter Bunny. These matted, smelly, cigar-stained, fucking limp-eared... Ugh. Blech. I don't know. Whoever's idea the Easter Bunny was, like, what a sick fuck, honestly. I mean, does anybody else feel this way? Is it just me? Everybody else is like, bunnies and chicks are really nice. No, man, it's fucking weird. It's weird as shit. And I'm still trying to figure out where that came from. German. Oh, okay. Mariana's going full. You live in year zero. I actually thought about playing a song called Year Zero tonight. So Team Crim, if you hang around, that might be something we do. But so the long and the short of it is, Easter is one of those times where I'm like, I don't understand anything that's happening, but I will 1000% buy all of your chocolate at 50% off the next day. And, and I will participate in some of the religious stuff. It's the rest of it that's terrifying. And maybe that's a North American thing. Maybe for those of you who are spread out around the world, you don't do the murder bunny. And if so, good job. Because it's the worst. Absolutely. And so in the chat, Normuk's not actually listening, but he says that a Christian metal show is an oxymoron. It really isn't. I mean, I always find that really interesting where people are like, metal is inherently devil worship. So are you just saying that loud music is scary, therefore Satan? It's not a strong argument, my friends. Okay, so oh man, I have so much good stuff to play for you guys tonight. And I'm trying to decide where to go, because after that first track, if you were here for that first track, that had some beautiful, like, 70s, tweedly, psychedelic rock and roll guitars. Delicious. And, you know, speaking of sort of drugs, and psychedelia and, you know, a bad trip. Can you imagine Easter on a bad trip? That'd be terrible. Eileen's saying she never understood the groundhog thing. Yeah, me neither. You know, the reality is humans are deeply flawed creatures, and we can only understand the world if we make up stupid stories about it. It's why we write music. It's why we make art. It's why we tell stories. And it's why we invent dumb fucking shit. Like, hey, look, there's a groundhog. Don't eat him. Just look at his shadow. Let's find out if there'll be more winter. What the fuck? Of course not. Of course not. There's this nice little bunny on the ground here eating grass. Make him 467 times the size, and he will throw chocolate at children. And I don't know. It's a human thing. Where's Cope? Where's Cope when you need him? It's the human condition. I don't know, man. Yeah, and you know, I understand that it's American consumerism, and I'm not trying to get down on these holidays. I'm not trying to get down on celebrating it in a religious fashion, and I'm not trying to get down on it. I'm not cool enough for that. But I'm also not trying to, like, bring down the sort of fun, ridiculous food aspects of it either. I mean, I have three little nephews now. Three little nephews now. And they're fucking stoked. They're wearing bunny ears. They're cleaning up the backyard so they can hide stuff. Like, it's fun for them. And so some days when I wonder, why did we create a giant, terrifying rabbit human that, you know, he's not even like Santa. He's not even watching you. He just shows up and hides chocolate and then terrifies children for pictures and pieces out again. I mean, I don't fucking know. But sometimes I remind myself to look at things with that childlike wonder. And then I just think back to, you know what was the coolest? When it rained for Easter and we had to hide chocolate indoors at my grandpa's place. And he hid it so well we couldn't find it. And then you'd find a chocolate egg like 4 years later. And the game would become, who's going to eat this desiccated, spiderweb covered, nasty, sort of crumbled into dust chocolate. Easter, the gift that keeps on giving for many, many years. That's what you need to remember the next time you're wondering, why do we do Easter? It's so you could find that chocolate, it's so you can find that chocolate egg half a decade from now and then, make your sister puke because you put it down her throat. Right? Feel the love. If that's not a religious experience, nothing is. All right. So I am going to start us out more in the rock and roll vein tonight because I have some great stuff. There is an all-girl band that I love, and it turns out it's not because they're all girls, but I've played them on the show before, and they're hella fun. They're called Thunder Mother, And that's a fantastic fucking band name, obviously. But they play rock and roll, and they are super fun. And they kind of have a very 70s sound. They're a little AC/DC influence. They're a little Motorhead influence. And they're super, super fun. So I'm going to grab one of their tracks, the Spice Girls. Yes, big fan of the Spice Girls here on Fullforce Radio. Just, we love them. Love the Spice Girls. But I'm sorry, we won't be playing the Spice Girls on tonight's episode. Oh, God. I'm going to play you a track called Watch Out. My name is Crimsonclad. I'm very tempted to just hide some chocolate in here and then get so drunk I forget it. And then potentially find it on another show. Be amazing. Who gets it first, me or the stink bugs? We'll never know. Watch out, kids. Fullforce Radio. Yes! Watch out! Hey kids, welcome. My name is Crimsonclad. 𝖊𝖕𝖆 is here. Hello, my lovely. I hope you're doing wonderful. My name is Crimsonclad, and this is Fullforce Radio. And tonight we are back to some semblance of normal. My headphones are on. My music is up. I'm playing you a little bit of rock and roll before we descend into madness and some heavier metal. And we've been talking a little bit about how, for me, here in the Northern America, northern part of the hemisphere, is that it's a long weekend. And it's not just a long weekend, it's a long, long weekend. I get 2 days off. And so I'm off tomorrow, Friday. I'm off Saturday, I'm off Sunday, and I'm off Monday. Now, to be fair, I don't work a lot on a regular day. Well, that's not true. I work a lot on a regular day, but I don't work a lot of hours on a regular day. I bill for a lot of hours, but I don't work for a lot of hours. But right now, it's the busiest time of the year for my company. And of course, I'm just coming back from that whole delightful got the plague kind of thing. And I love that. Alpha says that Fullforce radio sounds better while you're upside down. Check that out. Just framed up my Power Slave album. Speaking of Iron Maiden, we're going to talk a little bit about Iron Maiden tonight. So I'm very pleased with that. Heck yes. So, it's a long weekend for me. And I was telling you guys what I was going to be doing for my plans. But I want to know what you guys are doing. I know, isn't it nice? Although, if you were watching the video feed, hi, Gecko. If you were watching the video feed, I actually peeled it. I peeled off the plastic. A good peel is one of the nicest things on the planet. Do you guys like that? Do you like to peel things? Are you one of those crazy dad-like people who leaves the plastic on shit? Or are you someone who lives in the moment and enjoys a good peel? I need to know. Tell me. Tell me if you're a peeler or not. But so the long and the short of it is I've got a nice long stretch of days here that I'm off, and I've told myself, in honor of the weekend, I am not going to work. I'm not going to try and catch up. Things have been so crazy. I'm getting up early. I'm in drawing mode. I've got a lot to do and catch up with. You choose peel anytime. Well, in Canada, peelers is slang for strippers. So, I mean, obviously, everybody here is all about a good peel every now and again. But so, I've been thinking about all the good stuff I'm going to do. I'm definitely going to get out and go. I'm going to go hiking. And yeah, unfortunately, I think this year we're not going to go to church. COVID still is a little weird. And it's going to be a strange one. So we're just, oh man, it seems like we got a lot of peelers in the chat. Peels in the chat. But so for me, I'm excited. I'm gonna be hanging around, and I'm gonna go hiking. I'm gonna enjoy the weather. I'm gonna get to see my little nephews. I'm gonna hang out with my family, and of course, since we can't go to church, we are going to make a ridiculous amount of food and eat it on Sunday morning. Ron loves peeling his dead skin after a bad sunburn. Yep, that is a very pleasing one as well. Although, if you don't have dead skin after a sunburn, like me, because I try to avoid getting sunburns because I don't want to look like a leather handbag when I'm old, then eating it. Oh, Ron! You had me and you lost me. But I was going to say, if you're an artsy-fartsy person and you want all of the pleasurable aspects of peeling your skin and none of the parts where you actually go outside and let the molten ball of murder that fills our sky actually literally cook a layer off you. If you want to avoid that part, glue. Do you remember when you were a kid? You were using like white glue and white glue got on your hands? Same deal. Just peel that off instead. Just glue something. I don't know. Make yourself a macaroni picture. Something like that. Peel the glue off. Not your actual layers of your skin. Why is peeling stuff so satisfying? Ron says it's called recycling. Get in touch, Crim. You remember sniffing glue. Well, I'm going to say that you maybe sniffed the glue wrong if you remember it. I'm going to say you probably didn't do it right. So anyways, nobody's really shared their experiences with me, but that's fine. Fuck you anyhow. I'm going to go hiking. I'm going to eat a lot of food. Now, I come from a Ukrainian family, and Ukrainians on Easter, we drink, we eat bread, we eat sausages, and we eat cheese. Crim, were you impressed with my Crim impression? That's my answer to you. It's a heavy sigh. Just a heavy sigh. That's my answer, Ron. All right. So speaking of peeling and breathing and ASMR and all that, let's just move on. Let's just move away from this topic. But I am curious to know what you're doing. So tell me about your life. Remind me how cool you are. So there is another thing you never knew. Yes, I am. One side of my family is Ukrainian immigrants, not during the current world circumstances, but my grandmother's parents immigrated to Canada, settled in Saskatchewan, and eventually made their way across the country a little bit further because fuck Saskatchewan and all of the other prairie provinces. Speaking of Ukrainians, Thief is here. Also, Thief, I'm going to give you a total shout out on air. You texted me. I thought I answered you, but I'm trying to find my phone now too, and I've lost my phone. I'm a disaster. I didn't press send. So you asked me a question, and I didn't press send. And then I got COVID. So there you go. I'm not Jewish. I am not Jewish. Yeah, exactly. So Thief, also of a specific background. And yeah, that's what we do. You drink. You eat the bread. You eat the sausage. And you eat the cheese. Now, speaking of church-going folk, and I promise we'll get away from the topic after this. One of the other things that I love about church is, believe it or not, I have been hit with holy water before. And whether or not you believe it, I'm standing here before you, so you know I survived. But at the end of the sermon and everything, everybody brings their Easter baskets up to the altar. Now, this is sort of just tradition at my church. Maybe it's different. I don't know. I'm just telling you an anecdote. You make a nice basket. The basket has all the stuff in it. Now, because we're Ukrainian, sausage. Gotta have it. Gotta have Ukrainian sausage. You gotta have bread. Babka, the sweet Easter bread. It's dense. It's fucking delicious. Babka goes in there. Christians are so dramatic. Yes, no other human on the planet is dramatic. It's never happened. Never once. Never happened. Never will. Ha ha ha. That was racist. Sorry, guys. Oh, God. Oh, okay. So, everybody is now making... you guys are terrible. Listen, you got the bread. You got the cheese. You put the cheese in the basket. And then, because you're Ukrainian, you put something called sanki, which is the... Have you ever seen Ukrainian Easter eggs? They're like a wax-resist dye. You hard-boil the eggs. You decorate the outside of them. They're beautiful. You have them in the basket. Everything gets blessed, and then you eat the food. You eat the food after it gets blessed. That's the idea here. Yeah, I fucking love cheese, 9. I live for cheese. We did an entire episode of Fullforce Radio one night where I told you guys of my exceptional love of cheese. But I'm going somewhere with the basket thing. So the idea is you put all these nice things in the basket. You make this nice offering to the good Lord God. You take it up to the altar. The guy comes out. He's got the... I don't know what any of the things are. Yes, psanke. I make these. They're beautiful. And the nice thing is they're ephemeral. That's the idea, is you put a lot of work and a lot of effort into them. They're stunningly beautiful, these incredibly decorated eggs. And then you smash them open and you eat them. Life's too short, right? Now, there are lots of people who blow them out, who make them hollow and keep them. And I actually do that as well. I give them away. But listen, you get your basket, you put it up on the altar. Dude comes out. Because my church is Ukrainian, he has a silly hat. I'm going to blaspheme for a little bit here. He's got a big silly hat. He's got lots of fancy pants clothing. He has a bucket full of water. And he has a little stick thing. And he's mumbling to himself. And he's blessing things. Again, I'm going to hell. I know. I'm fully... Where's the bone throne? I have one piece behind me here. You see? One piece of bone throne. Right there, behind me. Because the bone throne is so big, it takes up my entire office. So I have other pieces of bone throne also around if I need them. If the need should arise tonight, I can throne and bone, I can bone throne. Let me finish the fucking story. Orthodox Church, exactly. Ukrainian Orthodox, you're spot on. So, he's got all the shit, he does all the stuff, he has the stick, Well... What you're supposed to do you're supposed to put a candle in your basket. Now, Lord love my mother, speaking of the bone throne, Lord love my mother. My mom likes to have blasphemers are burned at the stake. Oh, for somebody who's not listening, he sure is listening. So my mother loves to have a beautiful basket. It's very important to her. And so, you know, what you're supposed to do is you have your big piece of bread, you put a candle in it, you light the candle. No problem. My mom picks her nicest candle because life's too short. Burn the candle. She picks her nicest candle and she puts it in the bread and she puts it up on the altar. And it's just going along. It's quiet. And we look over and we're like, oh, our Easter basket has a handle. And the candle is directly under the handle on the Easter basket. And we're sitting in the pews and we're listening to the sermon and we're kind of looking and we're like, that doesn't look so good. Handle's kind of turning a color, but he's talking. It's quiet. Everybody's doing the stand up, sit down, kneel, stand, sit, kneel. You know, the sermon's going on. It's really quiet. It's a big church. And we're looking and we're like, okay. My dad and I are looking at each other and we're like, handle. The handle's changing colors. The handle's really changing. The handle's turning black. Should we tell my mother that the handle is actively charring? I don't know. And we're kind of looking at each other. We're watching the basket. We're watching each other. And it's still going on. And you sit and we're standing, you're sitting, and you're standing, and you're praying, and you're no. And we look over, and sure enough, it takes about 2 minutes. Basket's on fire. Basket's fully on fire. The handle is now an arch of flames in the middle of the altar. We're looking at it, and nobody said anything yet. There's a ton of fucking people in the church, and we're all facing that direction, and we're all just watching in horror as somebody's Easter basket goes up in flames. And so now, Dad and I are looking at each other, and Dad like, should we go get the basket? Should we admit that it's our basket? Should we look around like everybody else and just, oh, whose basket's on fire? Who is that idiot? And we're like, okay, we better tell Mom. And so we're trying to get Mom's attention. And at this point, our basket has now set someone else's basket on fire. And we're like, how is no one at the front of the church seeing that the altar is now physically on fire? There's a lot of fire. And so finally, my mom notices, and she does this thing in my family that we affectionately call the crow call. And it is an exclamation of panic. Yeah, exactly. It's raging inferno, doesn't matter. But so she does this thing we call crow call in my family, and it's kind of this weird sound that's kind of like, ah! And in a perfectly quiet, echoing, marble church, there is this one instant where my mom goes, ah! And interrupts the entire sermon, which causes Father 𝖊𝖕𝖆 to turn his head and look, to realize that the altar is on fire, that multiple baskets are becoming toasty, shall we say. And he picks up the thing of holy water, whatever it's called, and the little stick, and he goes over to the altar, and he's going. I'm miming it for those of you who are just listening. He's taking the little stick in the water and he's shaking it as hard as he can. He doesn't want to pour the water out because obviously that's also blasphemy. And so he's trying to use the little stick. Well, the thing's only meant to spray a few droplets at a time. And he's just panicking and so finally someone came out with a fire extinguisher. And yep. So we all, my family ended up sitting. We were like, oh, we'll just go light some candles or we'll go do something else. And we waited as long as we could to make sure as few people as possible saw us sweep up the charred wreckage of our Easter basket off of the altar. Delightful. Fucking delightful. So there you go. So metal. Hey, Creo, good to see you. Haven't seen you in ages. Cly is alive, everyone. A round of applause for Cly. So there you go. Whatever your traditions are, I hope they are delightfully hilarious Nobody actually gets hurt, but there is some form of enjoyable destruction, and I don't know, get sprayed with some water or something. I don't know. Long and the short of it is, have a little fun. Have a little fun. Even if shit burns down, it could be worse. All right, so I'm going to play another track here. We'll keep moving on. We'll move our way through some of the rock and roll, and we'll get more into some metal. And yes, I will play an Easter track. Yeah, so last week, just a quick catch up is, last week my ears were fucked up and I couldn't wear headphones. And it makes it really hard to do a live radio / music show when you can't actually listen to what's happening. It was a bust. Such a bust! But tonight, shit's good. All right, so I figured this might be a good place. I got a couple of tracks about fire. They just happened to be on the playlist, and I just thought, well, since I've completely embarrassed my mother and told the entire world about that time where she almost lit her church on fire, why not? Let's do it. So I'm gonna play something by a band called Orbit Culture. And this is definitely a little bit of shut up, I don't say a boot. You say a boot. I don't have an accent. You have an accent. Hell. Fuck. So I'm going to play something by Orbit Culture. And these guys are somewhere cross between like newish underground core kind of metal. So hi, Uncle Bonehead. Hi. Jesus. Read the mug, ya bastards. I'm going to play something by these guys, and it's a good fit for tonight. And we definitely will play Year Zero, obviously. If we're going to blaspheme, we'll take it all the way. So whatever you're doing for your Easter long weekend, I hope you are I hope you are having a delightful time. We'll play some loud music, we'll have a little fun, and then we'll talk a little bit about other stuff, because we've done the Easter thing. The Easter thing's over. But yes, Creo legitimately posting a picture of my mother raising her candle aloft in the church directly before lighting everything up and getting us kicked out. So let's do it. I'm going to play you a track called Flight of the Fireflies with some fucking alliteration in there. And we'll see where she goes tonight. I got some loud music. Got a lot of fun. Hoping you guys are going to hang. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on the weekend. And, well, I will try to not blaspheme for like 4 minutes and 51 seconds, which is exactly the length of the song on Fullforce Radio.
Like the fireflies, the world from lost to
Nice. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Crimsonclad and this is Fullforce Radio, our first good heavy metal track of the night. I hope you are having an excellent time. Bunch of people are hopping in. I see lots of people kicking it across all of the different streams. Gentle reminder that there are lots of different places that you can watch and you can listen, but I highly recommend mspwaves.com because, of course, that is the radio station. And if you are hanging out at the radio station, you could discover a bunch of other awesome DJs across our full schedule. So, do the thing. Some, yada, yada. Every now and again, I remember that I'm supposed to help this grow because then maybe some of you will come back again week to week. For the first hour of the show, we were talking a little bit about Easter. We were talking about, I don't even know. We were talking about how terrifying the Easter Bunny is and why on God's green earth we ever thought it was a good idea to stuff some, middle-aged man who desperately does not want to be the Easter Bunny into a terrible, yes, exactly. Why? Why would you ever have a terrifying Easter Bunny costume and then go force your children to take pictures in it? Kingston Dude, hi. Otto, thank you. I definitely feel a bit better, but a lot of it really is I have my headphones on. I can hear the music. That gives me all of the energy in the world. It is really difficult to be jazzed for a live radio show when you can't listen to music. It sucked. Don't recommend it. Don't get the plague. So yeah, we talked a little bit about the terrifying 6-foot tall fucking Easter Bunny bullshit that comes along with North American Easter. And also just Easter plans, and I absolutely outed the fact that my mom one time almost lit our church on fire, and it was hilarious, and we almost let her go down in flames with it. But so, moving on, and also, I have framed up that 𝖊𝖕𝖆 album. If you were here a couple weeks ago, I did a live unboxing of all my 𝖊𝖕𝖆 gear. I'm super stoked. But what I was complaining about, and the single soul consistent factor in my life today and forever, yes, you got a buddy with you, bro, is that everything I do, everything I touch, everything ever in existence will have dog hair. Look at this. There's a dog hair under here. I don't want to unpack it again. One single dog hair. Fuck. That's one thing that I've decided after this is dog hair, it's just, it's just animal glitter, right? I mean, I'll tell you, it is difficult being a metalhead and having a penchant for wearing all black when you have a fucking white husky that sheds on everything. Look, any part of me at any given time, what's that? That's a dog hair, my friends. What's that? That's a dog hair. Anywhere you go in my house, there's more dog hair than people. I'm pretty sure. I try to keep it clean, but it's just never going to happen. Everything I love is ruined by dog hair. So, there you go. I'm going to get those albums hung up. I'm stoked. So, mentioning things on the weekend, I bring this up because I don't know what this is, but I like it a lot. 𝖭𝖊𝖆𝖆 says, "Bumba bumba bumba boo woo." I'm not 100% sure what that means. Maybe you just put a curse on me, but it's delightful. Thank you for contributing to the conversation. Bumba 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 boo woo to you, sir. Fuck. All right, so listen. one of the cool things that I'm doing this weekend, other than going for a lot of hiking and whatnot, and it's a mating call, Cly says. Here's the deal. I am absolutely going to make the baby Jesus happy because on Sunday, Easter Sunday night, I am going to go see Slipknot. Now, here's the deal. Remember how I was saying that in my mind, everything is 1998 to like 2003, 2004, 2005? Yeah, man. When I heard Slipknot was coming through town, how could I not? How could I not? It's going to be a lot of fun. And it was quite funny because then, of course, my poor mom, God, this show just becomes ways to embarrass my mother. My existence is ways to embarrass my mother, but that's fine. I was showing her, I was like, oh, look, this is where I'm going tonight. And she was like, oh, they're wearing scary masks. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess so. And she's like, who else is playing? And I go and I look and I'm like, oh, yeah, in this moment. And she's like, that man has an upside down cross on his forehead. And I was like, yeah, but it's still within the realm of Eastery, right? And she was like, no, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So I thought if you guys wanted, because everybody has a favorite Slipknot track, or maybe not, but if you do, tell me what your favorite Slipknot track is, because I'm going to play a Slipknot track tonight. And I am going to get wrecked on Sunday going to see Slipknot. This is probably going to be the biggest concert that I've seen this year because it just happens to be usually most of the metal shows in Vancouver are teeny tiny. But I will absolutely put together a metal calendar. So if you are out Vancouver way and you want to go see a show with me, let me know. Come on out. Let's do it. I will 1000% give out my location to crazy people on the internet. I've done it a lot. I haven't been axe murdered yet. Knock on wood. You know, if you're going to shoot your shot, kids, bring your axe, shoot your shot. But yeah, so if you have a favorite Slipknot track, let me know. That's what I'm going to be doing for Easter weekend, celebrating the great Lord Humongous or the baby Jesus, whichever one, by going to go see Slipknot. Ah, delightful nonetheless. Oh, there's a lot of licking going on. Wait and bleed? Yes. How does your mom deal with all your Satanism thingy? Well, I'm not really a Satanist. I'm just not really a Christian either. I generally believe that most religions have a lot of stuff wrong, but almost all of them get one thing right. And that's like, be cool to each other, my dudes. What you do to other people is going to come back to you. That's a pretty good one. You know, if you could just boil all religion down to that, it'd be pretty good. You know, hey, don't be shitty to other people. But going off on a crusade to kill a bunch of brown people in the Holy Land, yeah, let's do that. That's fine. Or like, you know, let's just be, yes, exactly. Be excellent to each other, my dudes. Be excellent. Like, that's it. That's enough religion, okay? That's whatever. So overall, I mean, Satanism to me, we've talked about it. We've talked about it many a time here on the show because, of course, there's a lot of, yeah, exactly. Don't suck. Pastor out. Poof. Be fucking nice. Drink. Absolutely, I will. What should we do tonight? What do you guys think? I'm still trying to get through the last bottom swill of the whiskey, but we could drink rum. Where do you guys want to go tonight? What kind of sassy people are you feeling like tonight? But yeah, so the long and the short of it is, I believe that Satanism is incredibly useful. I think Satanism is incredibly useful in that it is a foil for Christianity. You know, there are some great things in Christianity. Be kind, be good to each other, help your community, be part of the whole, you know, understand peacefulness and, you know, gracious servitude when you need to. But also, you can't live your whole life serving someone else. And Satanism steps in and says, well, listen, you know, at the end of the day, you're the most important person in your own life. You're actually your own God. You are forced to reckon with your choices, learn lots, be intelligent, and make good choices above all for yourself and yours. Both of those things work. Both of those things work. Pick and choose, mix it up, throw your own, roll your own, and just, you know, be cool to each other. Be cool to each other. Both. Absolutely not. Rum has sugar. Yeah. You know what? Sugar makes me hyper. So we'll sit. I do have that Kraken though. It's good though. Thank you. Thank you, Kingston, dude. I'm glad you're going to come hang. So, the long and the short of it is, my mom thinks I'm spooky, but she's just like I said, over many, many years, she's just embraced that this is what she got. Glee, Cly, Glee. Oh, well, that makes a lot more sense now. All right, so, Clientology. Good. The holy dick. All right, well, while chat discusses the new religion that they're creating, I'm going to move on a little bit. Now, one thing that I kind of wanted to talk about that I probably won't because I will talk forever is music from the 70s that is proto-metal. And I've done a lot of those shows. For a lot of years, I have talked about bands, especially in the 70s, that laid the foundation. Thanks, bye. That laid the foundation for heavy metal, right? We've done lots of shows on that, and it always comes up on the show. And since we've been talking a little bit about psychedelia and things being on fire and whatnot, I thought I'd play you a track by a band called Jefferson Airplane. Now, I'm sure you know, or Jefferson Airplane, Jesus Christ, Jefferson Starship. Now, I'm sure you know Jefferson Starship. They are one of the biggest arena rock bands in the world. Like, kind of ridiculous. And, of course, yes, Grace Slick, one of the most fabulous voices and insane intellects on the earth. And so, yes, Jefferson Airplane is where we started. Jefferson Starship is where we took off, right? You start on your airplane and then technology advances and you end up on the Starship. So yeah, White Rabbit is Airplane. We could spend an entire fucking show, an entire Full Force Radio, just talking about that transition between the two bands, the connections, where the music came from. But fuck it. I do want to play you guys some psychedelic drug music tonight, and I do want to play you something from Jefferson Starship. The delineation is important. But I want to play you guys something off an album called Gold. And I want to play another album that talks a little bit about fire, but also talks a little bit about creator mythos and talks a little bit about all of the stuff that we talked about going into this. Since we've been jamming and kind of riffing a lot on Christianity and just religion and Easter in general, you know, especially in the 70s and 80s, occultism, heathenism, sort of alternative spirituality was a thing, right? Everybody was running around the world. They were listening to gurus. People were checking out what was going on in scrolls out of Egypt. People were looking at all of the different ways God could be interpreted, all of the different alternatives and all of the similarities between stories. You know, what we knew from Christianity, but what we also knew from Egyptian mythology and what we also knew from Greek mythology, and where all of these stories crossed over. In the 70s, everybody was just fucking doing drugs. Bye, see you later. Hopefully see you in person sometime. Yeah. Have a good one. Stay safe. So, the reality is the 70s, everybody was asking these questions. Everybody was crossing all over and trying to discover, yeah, so many religions, but they all just say the same shit. But 50 years old. Oh man, we got to look at this. That's wild. Holy Hannah. That's a hell of a list. You're right there with me there. Yeah, agreed. So everybody, you know, doing acid. And I'm jealous. We should definitely have like an acid or a mushroom stream one time. We should do Full Force Radio on mushrooms. It'd be amazing. But everybody's trying to interpret God, but they're doing it through the lens of multiple religions. And of course, just so many drugs. All of the drugs. Grab the drugs. Put them in your mouth. That's what a lot of these bands were like. So I want to play you guys a track by Jefferson Starship because I have been listening to a lot of psychedelia, classic rock in the last week as I'm kind of easing my way back in. And I was kind of talking with one of my friends about this earlier, that Jane is one of the best fucking tracks out there. And if you don't know the track Jane, I'm tempted to play a cover for you today. But I'm going to play you a track called Light the Sky on Fire. Since we're talking a little bit about creator mythos, since everything's on fire, like my church when my mother's around. See, people call me the Satanist wrongly, but it was my mom who tried to burn down a church. Can we make that delineation? Yeah. All right. So here you go. I'm going to play a track called Light the Sky on Fire. Classic Jefferson Starship. Why? 'Cause I can. It's my show. Fuck you. I play what I want. But turn it up because this is fun as hell.
He will come back again someday. Yes, I would really like to know what are they watching us for? Yes, I would really like to know. Will you light the sky on fire?
There you have it. Let's just jump on in that cigar-shaped object. Let's piece the fuck out of here, guys. Vanish without a trace. There you go. My name is Crimsonclad, and it's Full Force Radio. And yes, believe it or not, this is a heavy metal show. But every now and again, I love to explore all of the weird, strange, fun rock and roll that metal evolved from. And Jefferson Starship is absolutely no exception. And since we have been... Since we have been talking a little bit about Easter, we've been talking about religion, everybody in chat is high as fuck, higher tripping triangles out there. It seemed like a good place to sneak that track in. So yeah, Light the Sky on Fire by Jefferson Starship. And it makes me laugh because everybody is now totally joking about my mom burning down a church because, of course, hey, Gabe, because, of course, oh, God. I was telling you guys about how my mom she didn't almost burn the church down, but she did indeed burn her own Easter basket down and gently charred some other people's Easter baskets. Delightful. But now, of course, the story has evolved. And, the next time my mom shows up for a show, people, because she sometimes listens. She doesn't chat, but she sometimes listens. She's going to be so annoyed because she is quite a religious person. And she's going to be like, I never tried to burn down a church. And everybody's like, Crim's mom. We're just saying, she's 5'1", if that. She's this tiny little thing. She's got long white Khaleesi hair. She's a delightful woman. She very much enjoys church. And I'm just picturing her running around, screaming. She's panicking and wiping her face and inadvertently wiping like soot on her face. And, everybody comes running in, and here's my mom standing at the altar screaming, waving her arms with corpse paint in a burning church. It would be amazing. It'd be one of those mix-up comedies, It'd be, delightful. Absolutely delightful. It'd be like, I'm the problem? Oh, no, you want Mama Crim. She's over there. Yeah, the one dancing on the altar, painted with the face of the dead. Yeah, that's her over there. Oh, goodness gracious me. So listen up, kids. We're not quite halfway through the show. And I hope you guys are having a little bit of fun. I'm so glad you're back. I'm so glad I'm feeling better. I want to play you guys lots of music. I want to chitty chat with you. If you were here last week, we were discussing the fact that I got the plague. I ended up getting Rona, and I lost my hearing in my ear, and it was too hard to put on headphones. You saw Bill Gates was in my town for TEDx. Yeah, everybody's been talking about this today. Bill Gates and Elon, and I don't know. I don't care. But yeah, definitely there's a lot of hippy dippies over here, so that's really cool. But to be quite honest, whatever. I don't really want to listen to Bill Gates talk, and I don't want to listen to Elon talk either. The internet is blowing up. I have seen, because it's impossible not to see, that Elon is talking out of his bum. Speaking of COVID-riddled bum-bums, I don't have one. If you were here last week, the entire show, 2 hours, was basically me, after you guys all brought up all the different bad things that can happen to you with COVID. You guys were all like, do you have COVID tongue? Do you have COVID dick? Do you have COVID vagina? Do you have restless COVID anus? I don't. I don't have any of these things. And in fact, my anus is fine. And last week's entire show was basically telling you guys over and over, no, my ass is not riddled with COVID. That was the entire show. So I don't know about you, but I'm pretty glad that we can now kind of mix in a little bit of music in between all of the discussion of my bum. Okay? So I don't have COVID bum, but it is what it is. It's a crap shoot. I know some people who got really sick. I know some people who got not sick at all. Some of them were vaccinated. Some of them weren't. Complete roll the dice. If you do it this way, it's rolling the dice. If you do it this way, it's a Spider-Man dick flick. So, make sure that you shake weight in the proper direction. Otherwise, you'll get banned off Twitter, I'm sure. Twitter, and then Elon will buy it back and you'll be unbanned. The long and the short of it is I don't fucking care. But the entire internet is losing their minds. And I was thinking about this today because one of the things that's really interesting about living in, everybody's like, yay, buttholes. Chat is singular, I'll tell you. But listen, one of the things that's really interesting about living here in Canada is, as I've told you guys before, many of you who live in the US or larger countries, things are a little different for you. You have different experiences. But me, I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Now, one of the things that I was mentioning to Clay earlier is, like, for example, Texas, British Columbia, the province in which I live, is 1.5 times bigger than Texas, give or take. So you guys are all like, Texas big, everything's big in Texas. I can't do a Texas accent. I don't fucking know what Texas sounds like. Ha! Bigger in Texas. Here's the deal. BC, bigger than Texas. But the amount of people here, you guys have, Texas has like 6 times the population. And I bring this up for a reason. And I bring this up with Elon and everything else for a reason. And that is, the news here is still really chill. You know, every time I visit the States, and I'm not ragging on the States, but I am a little bit. You know, the news is like, you guys don't even report murders because there are so many murders. You guys, shootings never make the news. The only time a shooting makes the news, or like a car chases only make the news if the person's been going for a long time or somebody thinks they're going to get shot or whatever. You know, like, it's got to be here. You don't want to know what's happening in the news in Vancouver right now? States in Canada are huge. Yes, they're called provinces. Canada's big, folks. Canada's really fucking big. And the entire population of Canada, I tell you this on every show, but I will continue to tell you, the entire population of Canada can fit inside California. California has more people than all of Canada, but our provinces are nice and big. All right, so in Vancouver, British Columbia, in the news today, that isn't Elon, that isn't Bill Gates, the news today, I saw everywhere, every outlet, everything, is that, yes, the entire population is like me, Nine, Moon, Julia, Cly, Thief. There's like 10 of us tops. Why would anyone want to fit in California? Good question. I don't know. I'm bringing this up for a reason. The thing I saw in the news today, you guys will all be delighted. The thing that made the news, that hit all the papers, all the rags, all the whatever, 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖏, was that in Richmond, in a karaoke joint, a couple decided to have sex in the private karaoke room, and someone filmed them through a hole in the door. And then they shared the footage on the internet. This is peak Canada. The thing in BC that was all over the news today is that somebody got some sucky fucky at karaoke. And somebody else perved on them through the door and then uploaded a sex video to the neenernets. Clutch your pearls, kids. This was in all of the newspaper. Daily Hive, Global, Vancouver Sun, all of them about the and it wasn't just about the fact that this nice couple decided to have sex in their private karaoke room and that some weirdo used their cell phone to film it and then put it on the internet. The story continued. It was that the owner of karaoke was going on record because he wanted to tell everyone, A, please don't have sex in our rooms. You're not allowed to do that. Very important. And B, please don't take photos of people having sex and put them on the internet. That's mean. This was all over the news today. Hi, Castleberry. The news was, please be nice to other people. Don't put their bum-bums on the internet. Also, I have a nice karaoke joint and cleaning up jizz is gross. Don't do that either. Thank you. So, you know, when you guys are telling me like, oh, Elon's there, oh, Bill Gates, oh, TED Talks, this is This is the kind of stuff that's in the news here in Vancouver. This is what we have to worry about day to day. All right, so should we play some metal? Let's play some fucking metal. Oh God, I have so many things to play for you guys, and I'm trying to decide what I what I want to play for you guys. So yeah, listen, you can do whatever you want while you're karaokeing. I'm just saying, it's hilarious because the owner of the karaoke joint had to go on the internet and bukkake karaoke. How do you portmanteau that properly? Karaoke. I like that. It's excellent. I have another totally useless Canada fact before we move on and we actually play some heavy metal and I don't drive away everybody that's watching and listening tonight. I would like to tell you about a band. I would like to tell you, not really a band. There is an artist in Canada. And there's a couple of different... I'm trying to figure out how to ease into this. You know what? I'm going to save it for after this track. So while we're trying to figure out how bukkake karaoke, there you go, VancouverisAwesome.com. Videos of couple having sex in private room at Richmond karaoke bar goes viral. There you go. News from Canada today. The manager pleads with people to stop sharing videos possibly taken without consent. Oh, Canada. Delightful. All right. Bukkake karaoke. I think it's bukkake karaoke. I do. I agree. Bukkake karaoke. I love karaoke too. I went to karaoke with Team Crim. We had a lot of fun. It was a good time. All right. Let's play some metal music and then come back. And then I will go on to the next random fact that I'm going to play for you guys. So what are you guys feeling like? Because I have so much stuff and I have some heavier stuff that I want to kind of get into. And there's lots of stuff that I could play, but I was thinking, since we were talking a little bit about my mom inadvertently lighting a church on fire because she's way more metal than she actually knows she is, and since we were talking a little bit about making the Ukrainian tradition, you make the Easter basket, you fill it with food, you get the food blessed, and then everybody goes home and pigs out on the blessed food, and then you're like, I don't know, you're like devil resistant for a full day. I don't know. I don't know what the actual details are on it. I just know my favorite thing coming home from church was immediately eating all of the cheese, all of the shredded, wet, blessed cheese out of the basket. Can't get mad at me. Blessed. Hashtag blessed and highly favored. My favorite part about Easter. So speaking about that, all the stuff that we've come to, I want to play you a track by a band called Lords of the Trident. And they are ridiculous. But I thought before we got into some of the heavier, harder stuff that we would get a good, solid mid-road ballad going on. Now, Lords of the Trident, they are... yeah, exactly. Jesus has risen on Easter Sunday. Let's eat meat. That's exactly it. So, of course, Friday, Saturday, we don't do... Like, Good Friday, you have a meal. You don't eat meat. You just eat veggies. You eat bread. You drink vodka. You eat whatever fish you can eat. But Sunday, Jesus is risen, your food is blessed. Take that sausage, smash it in your face. It's Christianity 101. You're welcome. But let's get this done. So I want to play something by Lords of the Trident. They are ridiculous. They are a completely made up, ridiculous band. I want to read you their bio just to give you sort of some contextual information. Who are the Lords of the Trident? Ha ha ha! Fool, you are not worthy to gaze upon their might. Their metal is so pure that only diamonds can scratch it, and usually the diamonds are the ones that end up getting hurt in the end. Their amps are so loud, Man-O-War knocked on their door and asked them to please turn it down. You think you're bad? Well, you're watching their sweep picking, wondering how they bend space-time to fit all the notes in. They'll punch you right in the face. If you like battle, bloodshed, axes, fire, and losing limbs, then mosh your way to the front row and receive your free ticket to Valhalla. If you don't like these things, too bad. Fuck you. That's how they describe themselves. So, It's, yeah, neckbeard vibe, absolutely. They're not quite neckbeards, but they definitely are medievally, for sure. Yeah, we're definitely going to do a 𝖕𝖊𝖆𝖘 at some point because people keep asking for it. So it doesn't matter. I'm going to play you a ballad by Lords of the Trident. I'm going to blaspheme a little bit. Yeah, exactly. You see? 9 understands. Too bad. Fuck you. Much like Fullforce radio, I play what I want. All right, so here we go. I'm going to play this track. I'm not saying it's lightly related to Easter, but it is a little bit. I'm going to play you a track called Offering to the Void. My name is Crimsonclad, and from here, we will spiral down into the darkness. We'll play a little bit of heavier metal, and I'm going to tell you a ridiculous story about bad music from Canada. There's no such thing!
There's a
All right, there you go. So, bit of a ballad, but a good one. And I really love metal that has that sort of harmonious singing, that has a couple of overlapping points, different melody lines, that is very sort of like whatever. But hey, so what I was what I was saying before the break is I was joking a little bit about I was joking a little bit about whether or not yes, and we will actually do some Slipknot, Alpha. We will absolutely do some Slipknot before the night is out. But what I was going to say, when good music? Well, you were here, and then I decided I was going to do only bad shit to drive you away. So once you leave, it's going to be... but yeah, so before the break, I made a joke that there's no bad Canadian music. Of course, that's not what I was going to say. I was going to say, in the same vein as the Canadian news being full of karaoke fuck time, because Canada. Also, I'm rocking my Merida hair tonight. I don't know if you guys noticed. It's still wet from my shower, so I look like a crazy Disney character. I don't even look like a real human at this point. I'm literally a fucking joke. I am a cartoon character. But yes, Canada is full of shit. And one of the most ridiculous... one of the most ridiculous sort of things that I think a lot of people may or may not know. God, I have so many ways of approaching this. So, there is a very famous Canadian, French-Canadian hockey player. And I am talking about 𝖊𝖊𝖆𝖆. And I bring this up because I have a good story for you. And it's not a very long story, but it's very Canadian. So there is a very famous hockey player, and his name is 𝖊𝖊𝖆𝖆. And 𝖊𝖊𝖆, what you may or may not know, is not only was he a great hockey player, again, from the 70s, because the 70s, 𝖊𝖊𝖆 loved disco. He fucking loved disco. And 𝖊𝖊𝖆 put out a disco album. I would like you to know that there is an actual fucking album, and it is it is a French-Canadian disco album with 𝖊𝖊𝖆, and he is teaching you how to play hockey over a disco beat. I need you to understand that this is a thing that I recently heard in a nightclub. I want to underline that. Anytime that you think that, Canada has its shit together, which you probably don't think over the portion of COVID and after we've been talking about what happens in the States versus what happens in Canada. I recently discovered in a nightclub that 𝖊𝖊𝖆 has a hockey disco album. I need you to just internalize this, because this feels about as Canada as you can get. I need you to understand that this exists. And if you open the album up, because you know how big a record is, let's refresh your memories here. If you have an album, it's like two of these. If you were to open a couple of records, right? See how big that is? 2 records back to back, she big. If you open up the 𝖊𝖊𝖆 disco album, what you see is this. Now, if you're not in chat, I'm sorry, I don't happen to have this up on the screen. Let me see if I can get it up on the screen. Can I? There. Here you go. What you see when you open the album is this. It's 𝖊𝖊𝖆 shirtless with his jersey, just posing at you. Now, this is pretty Canada, But don't... Ron's like, yeah, seems reasonable. But Ron. But wait, there's more. I'm going to Ron Propeel Ron. I need you truly to understand this. And I'm going to see if I can get it for you. I think this is it, but I'm not actually sure. I'm going to try and find it for you. Let's just see if this is it. So here's the deal. He has these songs and he plays this disco beat and then he just talks about hockey over the disco beat. And it was in a nightclub in Vancouver. No one in Vancouver speaks French. What was happening? So I won't play the whole song. I won't. But I need you to hear this before we move on to actual good music. I would like you to just understand that this exists and embrace it with your heart. All right? Just embrace it. And you're like, okay, it's just disco. We're just discoing. It's uncomfortable, but I can fuck with this. Okay, yeah. This is off 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆's album. I need you to know this.
Une fois que tu maîtrises ton lancer, il faut que tu saches quand t'en servir. Il est important de toujours te fixer une cible quand tu pratiques tes lancers. C'est en fermant ou en ouvrant ta palette que tu peux vraiment contrôler tes lancers.
The entire album.
Visez bas, baisse ta palette, puis pour lancer haut, remonte-la. N'oublie pas que tes lancers du revers sont toujours plus difficiles à cause de la courbure du bâton.
If you want to learn how to play hockey, the Canadian way, that's it. I just needed you to know that. I needed you to know that. Everybody's like, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. So, I just needed you to know this. I just wanted to put this out there. If you want to fucking torture yourself, there's the link. Mute me, have at her. This exists. This is what Canada does. So anytime you think, oh, look at Canada. Canada knows what's up. Canada's doing a good job. Remember, we let 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 make an instructional hockey disco album in French. And remember that I heard that disco hockey instructional album in French in Vancouver in 2022. The end. All right. So listen, to make up for this, I am indeed, I'm being racist against Quebec. I'm being Quebecist. Oh, I hope all of you are so upset. Yeah, this is why Canada can't have. You're welcome. We've got peeping Toms in our karaoke rooms, and 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 made a disco record. Canada. Right. Darsico, did you know about this one? Mr. D, have you been keeping this from me? Oh, 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆. Okay, so we return to your regularly scheduled metal programming. We'll never speak of that again. Ever again. Okay, so just if you ever want to learn to play hockey and you speak fluent French and you are also caught in 1970, that's the album for you. All right, so shall we continue? I have lots of stuff to play for you guys tonight. And since we are a little bit over halfway through the show, and I have now told you about terrifying anthropomorphized giant Easter bunnies, my mom tried to burn down a church, and also that 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 has a disco album, I am sure that you are feeling fully in the metal mood. But I have a lot of stuff that I want to play for you guys. And so I'm trying to kind of put it all together and decide what we're going to get to next. So I could play Ghosts Year Zero, since of course we were talking about what's that year that's stuck in your head. What year do you perpetually live in? I hope and pray that you do not perpetually live in the year that 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 put out a disco album. But it is. I love Mr. D. It's instructional. That's like when your parents give you something really shitty and you're like, I don't want this. And they're like, shut up. It's educational. That's what that excuse is. It's educational. It's destructional. Yeah, it's not. It's bad. All right. So we could play Ghosts Year Zero, or we got three options. 1, 2, 3. You can hear his chest hair. Cly is having nom flashbacks, hearing 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 chest hair. Just that's Crim SMR. I'm rubbing my chest hair into the microphone. I've been working on it. It's coming in slowly but surely. We got three options. I can play you Ghost Year Zero, which is a good little romp. It's a good fun track. I can play you some psychedelic space metal from Iceland, because of course my brain is already in Iceland. Or I can play you something equally fucking horrible. But every time I tell you guys, I'm going to play you something that you're going to hate. You're going to hate this. It's terrible. You guys are like, yeah, play that. And then I play it and you're all like, I hate it. So, do you roll the dice and get the terrible but catchy new pop edge core track? The mystery track that will make you all insane? Or do we play some Ghost, or do we play some Continuum? Both are amazing. I await your answers in the chat. Yes, and you know what? If you're high, I don't recommend coming to my show, because it won't get any better, and arguably it will get much, much worse. Julia is now here, and I'm sure she can also weigh in on the fact that 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 made a disco. He did. He made a disco hockey. Oh, gosh. Yeah, les ananas. God. So, nobody's answering. I think nobody wants to be the person to make this decision. And I understand that. I understand nobody wants to be the one to curse everyone watching the show. And I do understand that in the depths of my soul. And I am very tempted to play the terrible track just to torture all of you. But I'm not going to do it. Yeah, exactly. Zut alors! You know, French, say what you will about French. You have some fun stuff to yell. You do. I'm going to give you that. But yeah, I'm going to play Ghosts Year Zero. And then we'll decide if we need more torture or if we will move into more ridiculous, just ridiculous topics and play the good shit. I mean, that could be anything. But we'll start with Ghosts Year Zero. It's a great track. And I guess this album's getting pretty old too. I've never really thought about it, but it's probably pretty old. Holy shit. I haven't. Let's see. 2013. Yeah. God, this feels like just yesterday, but it's not. It's 10 years old. All right. It's off an album called Infinitesimum. It's absolutely blasphemy. It totally fits with an Easter weekend. And since we were talking about how year zero is the best year to be in, let's do it. Let's turn back the clocks before we resurrect ourselves from being dead after listening to 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 𝕍. Also, you guys, you have 4 seconds to mute. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second. I'm very upset that 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 did not call his disco album Disco Inferno. I'm out. Why am I like this?
Asmodeus, Satanas, Lucifer.
All right, this outro goes forever. But I didn't want to talk over it because I get a sneaking suspicion I'm going to get a strike for this and I'm going to have to cut it out of the video. Why? Because fuck these guys. All right, so hey, there you go. Year Zero, a fun track. Yes, super Satan-y. Not going to lie. It is a great track. Honestly, Ghost writes really good tracks. And for a lot of people, hey, Gabe, I didn't realize that you didn't rejoin. I just noticed you are now a Clown World PP, and good for you. All right, so good fun. They write really catchy tracks. And, you know, arguably we could go into an entire show about how that is a thing that has always happened. Satanism is always being repackaged to be more palatable to the masses. And of course, that's problematic. But then again, we do that with all religions. So what's more problematic than anything else? I don't know. Again, be cool to each other. Be excellent, my dudes. So I want to continue on. I want to play some more music for you guys because, of course, we're coming up on the last hour of the show. I regret nothing. I want you all to know this, that I regret nothing. And I hope, truly, that you will sleep terribly and dream of 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 coming to you in the night and whispering sweet hockey nothings into your ears over do 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 do. That's like, seriously, it's like 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 ripped off Funky Town. It's not Funky Town, it's Hockey Town. It's terrible and I regret absolutely nothing. So we talked about Easter. We talked about how Canada is small and ridiculous and that our news feeds are terrible. I don't even know how we got though. I don't know. I don't know. It's just bad. It's bad. It's bad across the board. So yes, exactly. No. Everybody, everyone in chat is immediately miserable when I said, you know, it's like Princess Bride. One of my favorite things to say to people when they leave the room is, sleep well and dream of big women. And that usually, when somebody's not ready for that and you say that to them, their reactions are delightful. I suggest that you try this in your actual day-to-day life. You know, they're obviously not going to be Andre the Giant, but just pretend they are and tell them, sleep well and dream of large women. But tonight, it will be sleep terribly and dream of 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆. And I regret nothing. Listen. We're hardcore in here. Okay, so you guys know I will be jumping off, doing some traveling again. I'm very excited. It has been far, far too long. And later in the year, I'm going to be going back to Iceland. And this is the first, well, technically the second time, and I'll let you know why. But the second time / first time we gather to support Grim, and she tortures us with troll music. I played you great music tonight. The audacity on this bitch. Audacity is my middle name. Crimson Audacity Clad. But listen. I don't usually go back to the same place twice. In fact, I basically never really have. That's always been sort of a goal for me, is this world is so big and I am so small and there are so many things to see that I don't know. I'll get back when I get back. But something about Iceland called me back. But one of the other things that I just confirmed, you know, as of the last couple days, is that I'm going to go back to Alaska too. And what can I say? So let's see, how many days? Like 25 days I will be heading back to Alaska. So unfortunately, while I am there, I will not have internet. So we will miss one Fullforce radio and we will miss one Cyberbuzz radio. But I am excited to go back to Iceland. I have started to organize a bunch of stuff. I've hired a guide. I'm going to go fucking climbing down into a glacier. It's going to be great. And it kind of reminded me that there are some incredible metal bands that come out of Iceland. Iceland is one of these places where it's like, there's nothing to do in the winter. You make music, you make babies, or you learn how to lift weights. Iceland makes good music, good art, enough people to keep the island populated, and a lot of people are really good at CrossFit because there's nothing else to do. And I'm going to play you something by a band called Continuum. And if you guys remember, some of you might and some of you won't, and it does not matter. But when I first went to Iceland, I actually did a live show from a hot tub. I had my laptop in a hot tub looking back, not brilliant. Had my laptop in a hot tub, geothermal hot tub, under the aurora, and I did a live show. And I basically shared with you guys a ton of different bands from Iceland. And it was awesome. Terrible, Gabriel. But yeah, living in Iceland, I absolutely could do it, but I don't mind cold. I like cold better than hot. And for most of the year, it's actually not that cold. It's about the same as Vancouver, honestly. Winter would be cold, though. Winter would be miserably cold. But when I'm going there through summer, it's actually quite warm. Through fall and spring, it's about the same as Vancouver. But one of the best things that I discovered while I was there, hot and humid. Blech, blech, spoken like a true Far Easter. So one of the things that while I was there is I was basically looking for all of the different bands that I could find, all of the different Icelandic bands. And one of the bands that I discovered during that first trip is a band called Continuum. And they are super cool. They write sort of like weird, cool, psychedelic rock. And the first time I shared them with you, I played a track called Caravan, and it was very like, if a polar bear hitched itself to a gypsy wagon and then dragged your ass through space but make it metal. That would be the sound. So I want to play this for you guys because it's a brand new release. It's their newest single. I don't know how to say it. Don't know how to read you the title. Could I pronounce half of these ridiculous letters? Absolutely not. But do I want to put the music in your ear? Absolutely. So that's what we're going to do. It is really good. We're going to continue on this sort of slightly psychedelic note. I'm not saying that my best friend told me that if I did have long COVID and my ears were stuck forever, that mushrooms were the answer. But lots of mushrooms. So many mushrooms. All of the mushrooms in space. Let's do it. What's the track called? Don't know. 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖘. I don't know. You can see it on the overlay. Figure it out. It's a beautiful track. Turn it up. Sorry, dead air. That was too quick for me. All right. So listen up, kids. We are into the last hour of Full Force Radio. I hope you're having a good time. Highly, highly recommend that band, Continuum. They are a band from Iceland. They kind of do, I don't know, like death-tinged prog, kind of genty, weird, psychedelic stuff. Really, really good. Really, really good. So, listen, tonight has been a meandering night. If you were here last week, of course, we talked about how COVID did not harm my bum, so don't worry. My anus is protected. And tonight we've been talking a little bit about Easter and ridiculous shit like that. We talked about how terrifying the Easter bunny is. We talked about dumb religious stuff. And we also outed my mom for inadvertently almost burning down a church. Therefore, it's her fault that I turned out metal. She's going to be miserable about that for the rest of her life. But I do still have a lot of great music to play for you and actual sort of metal. We did take a slight turn to the darkest of dark sides because I let you all know that there is a 𝖊𝖊𝖆𝖆 disco album. I apologize for nothing. Even though the mug says sorry, in my heart on this one, oh, I'm so not sorry. If I have to know it, you have to know it. So, you know, God, oh, there's so many dumb things to talk about out there. But I will say one thing that I have absolutely 1,000%, 1,000% noticed is that the entire internet is losing its mind right now. So you guys have to catch me up. You're all more in the loop. You're more in the loop than I am. Is Elon Musk buying Twitter? And if so, are you mad about it? Because, like I said, I'm just scrolling my feed and everyone is losing their minds. Everyone is losing their minds. And so now I'm kind of thinking like, okay, if we could have big companies bought by specific people, what would we like to see? I mean, I've been thinking about this for all of 15 seconds, but I would love for some form of like metalhead, like Corpse Grinder. I would love for him to buy, I don't know, some big important, like Corpse Grinder buys Amazon. That would be amazing for me. I would love that. I want to know, what's your dream crossover? If you could get anybody, it doesn't have to be a metal person, but if you could get somebody to buy a company you hate, who would it be? The Catholic Church by MindGeek. Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? That's fine. I mean, Elon, all he's doing is just making more money. It's what he does. He talks up a big thing, the price goes up, he dumps, he'll tell you he's gonna dump, and then he dumps, and then he has more money. It's just like, I don't know, he's so bored with living on this earth that he's just kind of, well, fuck it, let's mess with their money. Ha 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 ha! I don't know. I'm not a big Elon fan. What can I say? I'm not an Elon hater. I'm indifferent towards Elon. I don't know. He's not my thing. But if you could have a crossover, what would it be? Like, if you could have a big company bought by anyone you wanted, who would you hook up? How would you fix things in this universe? I am curious to know. If you could get a person that you admire and have them buy a company you hate, what would that look like? I don't know. I'd like to think up some ridiculous combinations. Just ridiculous combinations. You know, it's like Elon Musk, forget buying Twitter. I would like to see Elon Musk buy something like, I don't know, a grocery store chain. You know why? Because then he would have to like actually come up with shit to fuck with it. Like, I want Elon Musk to buy like Superstore, which is a Canadian chain. I don't know what it is in the States. It's the one, whatever is President's Choice, no name, that one. I want Elon Musk to buy Superstore, and then I want him to turn it into an entire robo grocery store. I want fucking weird. Normok finally shows up, and this is what we're talking about. Because we're talking about how I don't really know shit about Elon Musk, or I'm not paying attention to this Twitter shit, and everybody's losing their mind. And yeah, you don't have to admire billionaires. They don't have to have money. Pick anyone, give them enough money, You're here for Heresy Clad. Aw, thanks. I'm not even blaspheming. Although I did tell a really great story about, hey, 𝖊𝖕𝖆 about how my mom almost burned down a church one time. Burned down our church. And yeah, it was a pretty good story. So there you go, 𝖕𝖆𝖏. But, so, listen, this is what I want. I don't think he's good at any of this stuff, but I know he's a troll. There's not enough money in Canada for it to be worth him. So the only thing he could do is just fuck with it. So I want him to buy like just a grocery store, and I want him to just, I want like weird robotic arms to like hand me my banana, or like I want a conveyor belt that drives you through the bulk food section, so you're trying to shovel shit into a bag, but you're being carried along too quickly and you can't get anything. I'm just saying. If there was a combination of crossover of people and things, I would love to see you guys build the most mixed up controlling interests in companies to fix them. Who would you pair up? I, for one, welcome our new robot grocery store overlords. I do. I want to press a button, and I want a series of levers and pulleys to, like, I don't know, pick my produce from the garden in the back and bring it through a complex system overhead and then, like, bloop, pop it out. I don't know. I feel like we could have some fun with this. But in the interim, since we have not that much time left in the show, only like 40 minutes. And we've already covered off terrifying large bunnies. Crimsonclad's bum is A-OK. We've talked about 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 and how Canada has nothing going on in the news, and that Vancouver has so few people that when people fuck at karaoke, it's legitimately a news story. Am I missing anything? It's been a good show. We've talked about nothing. What if Elon buys 𝖒𝖊𝖙 from Justin Sun? That would be weird. No one cares about 𝖒𝖊𝖙. No one cares about 𝖊𝖕𝖆. So that one really is a fantasy crossover. Yeah, I agree. Although that's 𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖏 just dropped a fucking crypto meme. But yeah, that is the purpose in life. The purpose in life is to crush your enemies and see them driven before you, etc., etc. Lamentations of their women, so forth, so on. If they don't have women, perhaps their small children could lament. If they don't have children, then, you know, whatever. We'll hire some professional crisis actors to lament for you. But it's all good. So Patient Zero is just saying, Polar Bear Space Gypsies. He's put it into one of these programs that is the generative art programs. And that's pretty badass. So, you know, earlier we were talking a little bit about how creation myths are important. And all religions have creation myths, right? None of us live them, so they're myths. They're passed down. And there's a lot of crossover between all religions, especially with, you know, deities dying and rising again, things like that. There is a lot of synchronicity between all religions. And, you know, however you feel about that or whatever one resonates best with you is fine. But we were talking a little bit about moving into Jefferson Starship and that track being about aliens. And it's funny because Patient Zero brought this up a little bit earlier. Everybody's playing with them, and man, these are cool. I like that one a lot. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. It's mass hysteria. Yeah, agreed. But listen, so I played that Jefferson Starship track because A, fantastic fucking guitars, mwah, but B, also, one of the things that we kind of blaspheme about a lot as a species is, well, how do we tell God and spirituality and things like that from technologies that are incredibly advanced? And we are moving into an era that is terrifying. And Patient Zero's talked about this a lot recently. And it is true. The bigger, better, scarier, more efficient computers and especially artificial intelligence gets, you know, the more things that it can learn to do through these generative adversarial networks, the more that it can learn to do, the harder it will become for us to discern technology from God. And that's a messed up thing, and it's not something we should be happy about. And so Elon kind of is a part of that group. And you know, I love technology. If you're here for Cyberbuzz, it's something I talk about a lot. But we are entering into a weird and scary time. I, for one, am still just hoping for our robot overlords in the superstore versus all of us kind of running off and having church inside a circuit board. That's just me. What can I say? So here's the deal. I have a couple more tracks that I want to play for you, and I've got a wide range of sounds for sure. But one of the things, obviously, if you have picked up, given that I started out with Witchcraft and Thunder Mother and, Jefferson's Starship, I've been playing you bands that have that 70s sound, psychedelia. I've been listening to a lot of classic rock. So I want to continue in that vein. And to be quite honest, one of the first things I did when my hearing returned in my ear and I realized, oh my God, I can crank this fucker to 11 without actually crushing my head from the pressure, is I put on Motorhead. And, there will never be a place or a time where I can't listen to Motorhead. And so I thought, man, you know what? It's been a long time since I played it on the show. And it's been a really long time since I played Ace of Spades. So why don't we do that to celebrate the return of my hearing and all of you sticking it out? Let's turn this shit up. Let us play some goddamn Motorhead. Because, oh man, it has been too long. Get it done. Get it done. Then when we come back, we will play some heavier stuff and we will, of course, end up Ace of fucking Spades. And don't forget the Joker, Ron. Listen, let's do it.
If you like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. You win some, lose some, it's all the same to me. The pleasure is to play. Make no difference what you say. I don't say greed. The only card I need is the Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades. Playing for the high road, dancing with the devil, going with the flow. It's all a game to me. 7 or 11, snake eyes watching you. Double up or quit, double stake or split. The Ace of Spades, the Ace of Spades. You know I'm going to lose, and gambling's for fools. But that's the way I like it, baby. I don't want to live forever. And don't forget the Joker. Pushing up the ante, I know you got to see me. Read 'em and weep, the dead man's hands again. I see it in your eyes, take one look and die. The only thing you see, you know it's gonna be the Ace of Spades, the Ace of Spades.
Yes! All right, so I'm definitely going to have to cut the music out of this episode because one of the most delightful things about Motorhead is they are very protective of their their branding. They will sell you a Motorhead vibrator. Hell yeah, man. Faster than a bullet, kids. But yes, so I will definitely have to cut the music out of this episode, but worth it. I needed some Ace of Spades in my life, and so did you. Also, sorry if you are, well, I said I wasn't sorry, but this time I am. sorry. One of the things that I've been doing recently, and some of you will have noticed if you're watching one of the feeds, because you do have a lot of different ways to watch and listen. Lots of people just listen in the Discord. The quality sucks, but it's a great place to chat. You can listen on mspwaves.com. Sorry! You can listen on mspwaves.com, or, of course, I am streaming on Twitch, YouTube, Theta, Trovo, Vim TV. All of those places, and they come with video. And that may not be great for you if you don't want to see my face, and I fully understand that. But here, you will notice the overlays here, chats on here, all of the cuties in Discord are down below. And one of the things that I've been experimenting with is over here on the screen. You will see over there. It's really hard to point. I've been experimenting with visualizers. So anytime I can get a visualizer provided by the band, I will bring it into the overlay. I don't know if I'm supposed to give you guys like epilepsy warnings, but I'm looking at this one and it's on the screen in front of me and I'm kind of like, ugh, it's a lot. So, you know, belated epilepsy warning? Question mark? It's not a funny thing, but there's a lot going on. So I don't know if you guys like it or not. If you think that's entertaining, if you don't ever watch the video feed, who cares? But if you like it, let me know, because I have been enjoying playing around with this. You know, it's entertaining. So, you know, oh God, ugh. We were talking a little bit before the break here. A little bit before the break about, you know, Elon and nobody actually giving a shit about Elon and Bill Gates. And that's come up a couple of times tonight because they're here in Vancouver, but who fucking cares? 9 says, anybody want to volunteer to end me? Aw. Yeah, no. I mean, Normok, he's got a list. He's checking it twice. He's like, except not Santa. He's, you know, people who make those memes of like ripped Jesus with a machine gun. That's basically Normok. We're all heathens. It is what it is. So while we are blaspheming here tonight, because we certainly have played some fun tracks, I kind of want to continue on. And you like the lyrics. Okay, yeah, we can definitely do that. I do have a karaoke mode as well for when there are lyrics to the song. But so I do want to play some heavier metal now as we move into sort of the end of the show, or the last half hour or thereabouts. So the reality is that we do still have to squish in a little bit of Slipknot, because I am still stuck in the 90s and early 2000s, and I'm looking forward to this. And it's really interesting because one of the things that is very, do what? I don't want to end you. I think you're nice and I like you. I don't want to end you, but I will. Listen, in the apocalypse, if any of you guys joins my party and, you know, gets sick, gets irrevocably hurt, bitten by a zombie, if that's the kind of apocalypse that we're in, I will. In regular days and times, I'm soft and I would not harm you. But when push comes to shove, and I gotta break out the arsenal, and one of you is, you know, on the cusp of turning into a ravening, slobbering machine that wants the 2 brain cells I have left, I will shoot you. I will. That's how much I love you. I'll shoot you right in the face. With love. Okay, so on that delightful note, let's continue on here. Right, and so Cly's in the chat trying to request people ending up in Clientology as a religion. But, you know, I read earlier today, and I'll have to go a little bit into it, but I found a really interesting thing. Since we're talking about, you know, ending or you know, that I will shoot you in the face with love, if it has to happen, yes, kill them with kindness. Kill them with kindness. But in the interim, something I saw earlier today that was really interesting, and it sounds like a joke at first, and it's funny, haha. And then you start thinking about it, and it's interesting. And I'm going to put it out there into your guys' consciousness, okay? I'm from my mind to your mind is a terrible Vulcan mind meld reference. Fucking Star Trek losers. I saw today that the lead singer of a band, a metal band, ended up leaving the band. And it wasn't because he was in a fight with them. And he wasn't upset with them and he wasn't unhappy with the performance. And the band didn't dislike him and everything was going really, really well. But while they were preparing their last album, he had a premonition of his own death. And so he ended up having this feeling of dread and worry and a premonition of his own death. And in the face of that feeling, he decided, I need to live like I'm going to die. And so he's kind of been talking about this. And so first I was like, so you quit the band because you thought you were going to die, not even related to the band. You just quit the band. And then I started reading the fucking woo-woo bullshit that he wrote about it. And I thought, well, you know, there's probably something here that all of us could kind of take from. And so, you know, pick and choose from it what you will. But what he ended up saying was that in the time that he had this horrible feeling and this premonition that he was going to die, he thought, well, I don't want to. I want to live. And if I have to die, I need to live. And he spent the 2 weeks after having this horrible premonition of his own death, he spent the next 2 weeks living. He spent every moment he could with the people that he loved, memorizing their faces, listening to their voices, going places he hadn't been, revisiting memories that were important or hard for him. And the more that he did that, and the more that he realized that there is both pain and joy in living every day like it is your last, as he kind of came through that period, he thought, well, shit, we should live like this all the time. And so that's why he quit the band. He said, well, listen, I love the band, but I've got a lot more life to engage with, and I've got a lot more going on in my life that I need to be mindful of. So, you know, since we have kind of been talking a little bit about religion tonight, since we have been talking a little bit about spirituality, since we've been talking about being chased down by a terrifying murder Easter bunny, and having chocolate thrown at you and children getting in fucking fistfights. And I also told you about how one time my mom almost burned down my church. I figured, well, let's round it out with some ridiculous woo-woo metal stuff. So I will give you guys a link. There's a bunch of links. Let's just see here. Let me grab a link for you guys if you want to read more. But where I'm going with this is mostly that there's probably something that you could pick up. You did not sign up for spirituality on this show. I know, I'm sorry. We will return to talking about my anus in approximately 16 seconds. The long and the short of it is something that you should remember. Life is short. Live it the best you can. And if that involves loud music and lovely friends, embrace it. Embrace it. 16 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to play you guys some more music, and I'm keeping an eye on the time. I'm keeping the eye on the time. Yes, you're right. Only women love other people, Cly. What can I say? Dude, I know on this show, we like to peacock. We like to look tough. We're fucking metal and shit. But at the end of the day, I don't know. Is that the best? Nah. Live your life. All right. So let's continue. With that, I have so many songs that I want to play to immediately ruin the mood. Since we had this little moment, I thought, well, you know, I could play something nice, or I could play something to immediately ruin all the good work that I've done, which is often how this goes. So I have a couple different options. I can play something by Overthrown. I can play something by Northlane. And women are the shittier of the species on 100%. Yeah, it's true. So shitty. So much shittiness. You know why? Because COVID. Restless anus. Shitty. It's all coming together. Oh, God. You know, this will choose the track for me. I'm going to play something quite a bit heavier. I'm going to play, because Cly's here. Women have a kid and are like, I want more. Oh, this is not Coffee of Philosophy. You know what answering Cly is like? Cly, trying to get answers. It's like this track. This track is called Masochist. We'll do that. Then we'll come back and I will play one more troll track and then we will end up, of course, before we finish by upping the irons because today is a very special day in metal history. And it's a very special Iron Maiden kind of day. So we got to do it, especially since we're fucking crazy town tonight because I'm listening to Motorhead and getting all jazzed up. I'm probably going to have to go for a run after the show. So we'll just, let's continue. But I'm going to play you guys a track called Masochist. Just seems like it fits here. This one's a little louder because I'm craving something mean. Let's do it. There you go. Overthrown, a band called Overthrown. The track is called Masochist. And so there you go. Since we've been talking a little bit Are you able to make it in the 𝖊𝖕𝖆 tour? Or are you in Alaska? That's a good question. I am missing a ton of shows. I'm missing Hypocrisy. I'm missing, I'm missing a lot. So tell me what day it is, and I will tell you. What day is Archspire here? I'm almost positive I'm missing Archspire. Let me know, which sucks because Archspire's from here. I'm from here. I should see them here. I probably won't see them here. But so listen, tonight, yeah, you know what? We play a little bit of everything on this show, right, Clyde? We've played everything from Jefferson Starship all the way through some Motorhead, Icelandic, psychedelic, gypsy polar bear metal from Continuum. And then, yeah, we played some fucking Screamo. You know, it's not my favorite, but every now and again, you find a track like that, you turn it up, you just rip your head off. So, you know, as we come towards the end of the night tonight, I'm now at the point where I'm culling tracks off the playlist, as you do, as I always do. So I have a ton of great stuff that's going to go back into the big bucket to be regurgitated upon you once again. But, so yeah, we were saying, you know, 𝖕𝖊𝖆𝖆 says the idea of Christian metal is literally an oxymoron, but as I was saying before he was here, you know, imagine for a second that calling a loud noise, you know, literally Satan is basically what you're saying. It's not the best analogy. And there are actually a ton of bands out there that, you know, come hell or high water, they do. They want to express the way that they worship and the feelings that they have through really loud music. And, you know, a lot of the metal that I connect with and that I play on this show and that I try not to let get too samey same is melodeath, and it's often pretty heatheny. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I prefer a heathen god over another. But what I do really like is the connection back to nature. And that is so prevalent in a lot of, especially in black metal, which is, but, you know, bands that talk about how incredible this planet is and how tiny we are and how little time and space in this universe we take up. And there is something about loud, incredibly energetic, whether it's angry or happy music, that either rejoices in that fact or laments that fact. And that's the human condition for me. So, you know, there are plenty of bands that have that same experience and have also a Christian message to go with it. So at some point I don't know a lot about it. I know some bands, but I don't know enough to really dig down and create an incredible playlist about it. But it's on. Yeah, and it also has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I eat babies. The Rickshaw, May 14th. I will not be back. I return on the 15th. So there you go. I knew it. And I miss Hypocrisy, and I miss, there's a couple other bands in there that I miss. So yes. But yeah, Gojira, there tons of bands across all different types of metal that have a ton of tracks that celebrate I was going to say ton. The long and the short of it is there are so many bands with so many subjects across so many different parts of this genre that there is something for everyone. Christian metal does indeed exist. But I'm going to have to learn about it. So there you go. Eventually, to make that show for 𝖕𝖆𝖆 and everyone else, I'm literally going to have to listen to a lot of it. And I'm going to have to get inspired by it. I'm going to have to get jazzed about it. It's going to be a weird time for me, but it's all right. So speaking of, since Lamb is here and some people are listening, one of the things that I threw out there earlier in the show is that I love going to concerts. And I'm going to be going to see Slipknot this weekend because what says I love the great arisen baby Jesus like going to see Slipknot and in this moment. So this is the time in the show where we will pop Wait and Bleed on because it's been too long since we've played Slipknot on this show. And, you know, early on we were discussing what year do you mentally live in? And that for me, I am 1,000% stuck in the late 90s, early 2000s. And when people say, oh, that album's 30 years old, I still to this day think, oh, 30 years ago, that was the 70s. Not anymore. that was the 90s. 30 years ago was actually the year that I'm stuck in. What's happening? Fuck. So we were mentioning this earlier, that I'm stuck in a year mentally. It doesn't mean that I'm dreaming of that a year. It's just like, when I think about the concept of time as a whole, the timeline as it stretches across the universe, I identify as in a certain time. And I know it's 2022, but if somebody asks me, oh yeah, okay, well, how long ago was the 50s? I'll be like, yeah, 50 years. Shit. And I know everybody's got something different, but Slipknot, for me, I really truly can point to early Slipknot albums as part of my descent into harder metal. We've talked about on this show the gateway drugs by all of these bands that were towing the line between rock and roll or glam rock or sort of like psychedelic, like the 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖙s of the world, or the Deep Purples, or the 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖆𝖃s. And we've talked about these bands so many times, and we've talked about that sort of gentle slope downwards. But once I was in power metal and sort of melodic metal, then there was that next step down again. And I can absolutely point to, Slipknot and the beginnings of industrial metal as sort of a period where I descended a little faster, and there's something in my heart that just, I have a soft spot for them, for that, for sure. So let's do it. It's a really quick track, but we'll play Wait and Bleed. And yeah, time is fucking weird. You guys know that. You might be watching this on a replay. You might be here live. Time is a flat circle. Some of you are upside down in the future. Some of you are behind me in the past. Nobody knows how we got here or who put this pudding in our pants. But we're here and we're together and we're having a good time. Accurate. So accurate. So let's do it. Let's play Wait and Bleed, and then we'll come back, and I think we can fit at least 2 more tracks, but I would love to fit 3. And we'll chitty chat about whatever it is that you guys are going to be doing, because still nobody's told me what they're doing with their long weekend. I'm curious. Tell me about your life. Let me know where you are. I'm watching you. Let me pinpoint you. See what you're doing through the internet.
I felt the air rise up in me, kneel down, clear the stone of leaves. I wander out where you can't see. Inside my shell I wait and bleed. I felt the air rise up in me, kneel down, clear the stone of leaves. I wander out where you can't see. Inside my shell I wait and bleed. Goodbye, a woman of my child, and I didn't put on this time. Everything is dirty, blasphemy. My ears are running cold, the air is standing straight up. This is not the way I picture me. I can't control my shakes. How the hell did I get here? Something about this so very wrong. I have to laugh out loud. I wish I didn't like this. Is it a dream or a memory? I felt the air rise up in me, kneel down, clear the stone of leaves. I wander out where you can't see. Inside my shell I wait and bleed. Get out of my head, 'cause I don't need this. Why didn't I say this? I'm a pixel mention where you're gonna die. I am sin by just breaking my mind up and taking your breath away. I felt the air rise up in me, kneel down, clear the stone of leaves. I wander out where you can't see. Inside my shell I wait and bleed. I felt the air rise up in me, kneel down, clear the stone of leaves. I wander out where you can't see. Inside my shell I wait and bleed. Goodbye.
All right, there you go. So now I've definitely played two tracks. I've played Slipknot and I've played Motorhead, and both of those tracks are 1000% going to get tonight's episode flagged. So I will do my best to try and get this video edited for the replay, because I know a lot of people actually watch the replays and get to listen that way. And more often than not, my absolute best shows immediately get like strikes and get ripped off of YouTube. So, I mean, we know YouTube sucks. We're very aware, but I will make an effort to make sure that tonight's playlist and tonight's show actually does show up. So, keeping an eye on the time, we're still gonna make it, guys. We're gonna make it. But yeah, absolutely. You know, it will be really interesting. I'm Baba Yaga. You know, as a Ukrainian, Baba Yaga is obviously a very sort of solid myth for us. She's a wild lady. She's a wild, mean lady. If you see her chicken legs coming, you need to peace. But so, you know, in the coming weeks, I'm going to try to put together some more themed playlists and whatnot. And one of the other things that I mentioned at the beginning of the show and just before the break is that I will make a concerted effort to create a proper list of all the concerts that I will be going to see soon. And I will get them up in the Discord or somewhere else. And I am hoping very much that I will be able to maybe meet up with some of you guys. Not everybody's rolling through Vancouver, but if you are, I would love to see you at a show. And I'm doing my best to try and do some traveling to get to shows this year, but you never know how it's going to end up. So, you know, it's funny, 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖘, because one of the best, here, let me find it for you. I've never had, what is that liquor there? It looks delicious. What is it? A Krauterlikör. This is very German, Gecko. A Krauterlikör. What is that? What is it? What is this? 30%. I want to know what kind of liquor that is. Here in Vancouver, what I would recommend if you are looking for a Baba Yaga related drink is, let me find it for you guys. It is a place called 𝖊𝖕𝖆 Distilleries. They are fucking awesome. And I'm going to grab it for you because it's beautiful, beautiful packaging. And I know this is super lame and it's graphic designer territory. It's mouthwash. That would be amazing. But herb liquor. Okay, well, so here in Vancouver, speaking of weird herbs and shit, Baba Yaga, 𝖊𝖕𝖆 Distilleries makes an awesome fucking absinthe. And this bottle is super cool because it comes wrapped up in this paper. And as you peel it back, the bottle actually reveals these terrifying, creepy teeth. It's so cool. And also, it's fucking delicious. So, speaking of herbs and botanicals, if you're all up in the Baba Yaga mythos now, highly, highly recommended. This stuff is super cool and it's also delicious. But as a design nerd, it just checks all of the boxes. 𝖊𝖕𝖆 Distilleries does incredible bottles and labels. Highly recommend. Thief, were you there? We had it the first time it distilled, right? I don't know if he's still listening, but if he is, we got fucked up on this shit. All right, so we are almost towards the end of the show. Holy Hannah Banana, I don't think we're going to fit everything at all. So I have two tracks that I want to play, and we're going to try and fit them both in. We got to go back to back. So here's the deal. I want to play something by a band that's coming through town in July. Since we did do a little bit of genty industrial / screamo, emo core shit, a band out of Australia, I believe, since the 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖛𝖞 are here. Let me just double check before I say that. Yes, they're out of Sydney. A band called North Lane, and they are excellent. Highly recommended. They are coming back to back. Let's do it. They're coming through in July. So the Edmonton, Jesus, they're going to kill me. The Calgary boys, the Albertan boys, if you're looking for a great show, that one's going to be a banger. They're coming through. I'm going to play you a track called Carbonized. And I was thinking of playing this earlier because, of course, we're razzing my mom about burning down a church that she really loves by accident. And by accident, she ends up being way more metal than me. Yeah, Carbonized. It is a brand new release from Northlane. It's really fucking good. It's got that genty gajang jang jang. And then when we come back, we will up the irons because we have to. Because time. Flat circle. Weirdness. Years. Passage. Space.
Mirrors and smoke, hit it with a fresh coat. If the ship floats, run into the main line. Sugar sweet with a bitter beat. Strip the pain, you just bring your brain remains no blind. Conspire to keep it quiet. You run for cover, but still lit the fire. Now your terror's headed in, disappear into the wind, never to be seen again. We're wearing idle lies, pretending we're outside. It's not a reflection of what it glorifies. And for now, once the sun comes out, you'll be carbonized. You'll make your shadow shift like an incubus. You'll be carbonized inside your eyes. I've been talking to my conscience. It's not spoken, it's subconscious. Training my instincts to be cautious. To remember that you're toxic. We're wearing idle lies, pretending we're outside. It's not a reflection of what it glorifies. Carbonized. I looked up to you, but you looked down on them. Predatory through and through, and you call yourself a man. And you call yourself a man. And for now, once the sun comes out, you'll be carbonized. You'll make your shadow shift like an incubus. You'll be carbonized inside your eyes. And for now, once the sun comes out, you'll be carbonized. You'll make your shadow shift like an incubus. You'll be carbonized. I've got no heroes anymore.
I was going to go through all of the list of all the concerts that are coming up. Mono, Amorphous, Turnstile, Citizen, Mastodon, 𝕉𝖊𝖆𝖏, Hypocrisy. All sorts of good shit. All sorts of good shit. Behemoth, Napalm Death. But listen, we will do that a little bit later. We're coming towards the end of the show. And the reason is the rest of the album worth listening to? The rest of the album isn't out yet, but it will be, I would say. So listen, here's the deal. Today, many years back in history, today, Iron Maiden's self-titled album was released. This is kind of a big deal. It's a little bit important if you go all the way back to that first album. It came out in 1980. 1980, this day in history. And as such, we are going to have to play our triple threat. And I actually have a triple threat show coming up. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to play you a track called Iron Maiden by the band Iron Maiden. Off the album, Iron Maiden. Now, I'm not going to play the original from that album because it is not actually Bruce Dickinson singing. So, I'm going to play you a live version, one of the best, remastered from the Somewhere Back in Time tour. Let's do it. Iron Maiden, Iron Maiden, Iron Maiden. If you say it 3 times, Bruce Dickinson will jump out of a mirror. Fuck, it didn't work. Oh well. This is jump up and down music. We're fading out. My darlings, my darlings, we've hit the end of the show. I hope you had so much fun tonight. I am welcoming you back to Full Force Radio. My ears are good, my heart is strong, the metal is loud, and the weekend is long. Catch you guys later. Bye.